Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for joining us today. We are going to have the coach, Dave Pimper. He's going to come on and he's going to talk about, and a quick 15, 18, 20-minute webinar, he's going to run through um, non-hardship in-service withdrawals and give you the ins and outs of those and how you can use those to grow your business, and maybe even a tip or two on what he's done in terms of the marketing side, but to get in front of more people to have that conversation. So looking forward to a great webinar with Dave. Are you with us, Dave? Looks like he's trying to get aboard right now. While Dave is signing on, I'll give you a little background. So Dave got into business in the early 80s, like 81, 82. So he's a little over 40 years in the business now. Uh, 560 or so seminars that he's done, live seminars in front of consumers. He's done radio, currently doing a full hour-long radio show, which if you have interest in that, he can certainly tell you a little bit more about that. He coaches on Social Security seminar side for us as well. Just keeps very busy each and every day with clients and potential clients coming into his office, probably at the rate of about 4 or 5 appointments a day right now. As you can imagine, market tumult works in the favor of safety and guarantees. And if you're a good advisor and keep yourself out in front of people, you're obviously going to get more than your share of shots at people when they are in a movement stance. And I think right now that a lot of people are exactly in that stance. Market gets people concerned and they're looking for answers. And obviously, if we can be the people to be on deck to help them with those answers, that's how we get ahead. So, Dave, were you able to get on?
Absolutely. Thank you very much.
All right, let's talk about non-hardship withdrawals from 401ks.
We will. We will. Pretty exciting. Do you want me to take it from here, Steve?
You are on. You are on.
Look at that old man. I'm talking about the guy walking on the mountain. I just upgraded my picture from 10 years ago, and I don't think I look that old, but I guess I do. In service non hardship withdrawal plans. I tell you, if you're not working that industry, that marketplace, that strategy, and you're working with the pre retired or just retired crowd, you're really missing out on something. There is so much business. So we're going to talk about what is an in-service plan and find out how you can go in and maybe work with that monies. Okay. And if there's questions, type them in. This is a quick hitter. This is going to be 10 minutes. Hope you can go away and really have some great information. If you want more, certainly you can mark yes on the poll and I can talk to you. But our goal here is to help your production. What's the definition of an in-service withdrawal? Well, it's made from a qualified plan. Qualified also meaning IRAs, 401ks. Well, not IRAs, but company plans, 401ks, 403bs, 457 government, thrift savings plans. You're able, if the document has an in-service provision, the blueprint of the plan, what happens is once you turn 59 and a half, that money is available for an IRA rollover. They can roll it over into a fixed index annuity. They can roll it over into a wealth management account and professionally managed. And there's no taxation. It just goes into an IRA. So many people have this available, but so many people do not take advantage of the amount of options that they have. So first of all, on almost all in-service plans, you have to be 59 and a half to participate. It's on company 401ks, 457, thrift TSPs, thrift savings plans. If you just withdraw the money and get it, now you're in trouble. They're going to withhold 20%. Even if you roll it over in 60 days, they still take 20% out. You'd have to come out of your pocket. So this is all done through transfer, custodian to custodian transfers. Many times the loans have to be paid first. Sometimes you can't take, like I just did one 2 days ago. It was 174,000. Only 148,000 was the money they put in. And he's actually retiring in 7 or 8 months, but that's when we can take out the rest of the money. So there are some little innuendos. Most of the plans let you take out all of it, though, once you're 59 and a half. Why would you do it? Well, the client's going to do it because they have a lot more options. Why are we going to promote it? Because it's better for the client, and we get compensated for that. And just to let you know, everyone that does fixed index annuities and fixed annuities, the guaranteed rates in most company retirement plans, unless it's owned by an insurance company, then they're usually quite low and not very competitive. If any questions, just type them on in. Why do companies offer this kind of plan? It's liability. Let's say that you get up and you got $1 million in a 401k and you're 64 years of age, think about retiring in a year and a half or two, and all of a sudden, like right now, bam, market's down 20% for the year, which it is for the year to date right now on the S&P 500, or right at it. Well, let's say there was very few good guaranteed options. Money market paying virtually nothing. Maybe they have a stable income fund paying 1.67%. They wanted something that provided more, so they didn't go that route. They're trying to stay away from suits. What happens if they say, well, look, of course you could have taken your money out. You could have worked with anybody. You could have bought that fixed index product. You could have bought that fixed annuity at 3.5% and rolled it over. It takes away the liability for the company. They want to be competitive, with their personnel. So what I always do is I always have people, when they come in, I want them to bring in all their investment statements, all their company investment statements. Actually, I do all investments in insurance, in tax. I have them bring in everything, but it's the 401k statement or that 403b statement, TSP statement. That's the one I'm really going to look at. What you do, you basically just say, do you have an in-service option? They're not even going to, they'll think you're talking Greek. They don't know what you're talking about. So then you say, well, knowing that you have the option and you have the alternative, you have the ability, if you're over 59 and a half, to take money and roll it out of your plan into your own IRA that you self-direct. Do you know if you have that? We've never heard about that, which companies don't tell their employees very often because they want the money there. So then you just call Fidelity or Mass Mutual or Vanguard or American Funds, whoever that custodian is. You don't call the company, IBM, Chrysler. No, you don't call the company. You call the custodian, and they'll let you know right there whether it's available or not. And we do lots of partial distributions, not the whole thing. Person's got $400,000. We might work with $100,000 in a fixed indexed annuity, but you're giving them options they don't have now. You're making their portfolio potentially better. That's what you're doing. So this is a direct rollover. I've never seen a couple so happy about in-service non-hardship withdrawals than this picture. Yeah, it's tax-free. The rollover, there's no taxation on that direct rollover or that direct transfer. Continues the tax deferral. If it's not Roth, there's not an RMD mandatory, but if it's conventional, there is. Yeah. Just having control of your money. It's a big thing. Not controlled by the company, but controlled by you. Probably 35% of all of the business. So more than a third of the business I do is on in-service non-hardship withdrawals. I ask for it every single time. So my background is actually 550 some public. I just did a seminar yesterday on Social Security claiming. Got 8 appointments from that one night. Pretty exciting. Yeah. Started business in 81, so I've done it for 40 plus years. I'm in full production. It is full go for Dave Pimper, but I love coaching people. I try to make a complicated subject easier, but I'll tell you right now, getting in front of people is key. Knowing everything about the in-service non-hardship withdrawal, that's wonderful. But if you're not talking to anybody, 0 times 0 is 0. But if you understand in-service withdrawals and then you're in front of a lot of qualified prospects, good things happen to your appointment calendar and to your pocketbook, I'll assure you. So as Steve goes in and he's going to put up one of those last slides, there's just a lot to think about in-service plans. But there's an old saying. It says, procrastination is my sin. It brings me constant sorrow. I really shouldn't practice it. Perhaps I'll stop. Tomorrow never comes. If you don't really understand in-service plans inside and out, Steve, are you there? He's going to put up a poll, and that poll would just be if you'd like to have more information on in-service non-hardship withdrawal plans, just mark yes. There's no cost to it. There's no, I get paid by IAMS to when we do seminars, I get paid for some coaching. When we do Retirement Boss Radio, I get paid for some coaching there. And I'm not in a hierarchy. I'm here to educate you, help you. But in-service plans has been a big plus to my business in the last 10, 12 years. And more companies now have in-service. But if you mark yes, Brady Pelzer is going to call you today. He'll call you today or at the latest tomorrow morning. And if you mark yes, certainly take his call because he's just going to get a good time on my calendar and on your calendar for a 15 or 20-minute talk. And you're talking to me, and I just want to see kind of what your business is like and maybe how in-service plans can help it. Maybe if there's any other kind of marketing things we can do to help you get in front of more people. That's what our goal is at IAMS, to help our producers produce more. IAMS makes nothing if it isn't for the producer, period. And they know that oh so well. Don't you, Steve?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. And
Yep.
actually, I'll give that to the handover to yourself.
Thanks, Dave. So there are a
Yeah.
couple questions. I can't remember exactly when you joined on, but I mentioned that we would talk about not only talk a little bit about non-hardship in-service withdrawals, but we'd also talk a little bit about some of the ways that you meet people and talk to get into that conversation. So
Uh-huh.
I mentioned your radio background. I think it's a good time to maybe talk a little bit about how you incorporate that into your radio show.
Yeah. Just remember this. When you think of how many people own stocks, it might be 10, 15% or 20%. Maybe it's a little higher because of 401ks. Maybe it's 35 or 40%. But if you think of how many people own fixed index, it might be 5, 10%. How many people have a will? It's less than half of the people in the U.S. How many people will get Social Security eventually? 94%. That's almost everybody. 94 or 95%. So what happens is those people, half of them most likely are going to take earlier or when they retire. But there's people who have savings, people who have good retirement size plans. They would like to maximize their Social Security. I mean, Steve, I had at the Elkhorn Library yesterday. We got 8 appointments last night, and
Oh, that's a good day.
I was very, very happy about that. And the goal is through the campaign. So I have one more night of Social Security seminars on tonight. But what happens is that we'd like to get 10 appointments with retirement with Retirement Boss Radio. You are a radio host, but about a third of our business comes in because they want answers on questions asked about Social Security claiming. What happens is on those people who I talk to, the majority of those people are still working and not retired yet. They're still working, but they're over the age of 59 and a half. That's where all of this in-service non-hardship withdrawal plan business of mine comes from. So, Steve, I can't remember the exact question. I think it was around Retirement Boss Radio, but there's no doubt that Social Security, because so many people, 94% of all Americans get a benefit eventually, it's extremely important to them. And that's why we bring up Social Security on every single radio show. Our radio show, we always bring up one of the topics, always is Social Security, because it brings in so many phone calls and so many appointments.
And then non-hardship withdrawals, does that come up like one time a show or at least once or twice a month during your shows?
No. I would say every other show I bring up in service on the air, but I really could be doing it every time. I did it on this last show. I said most people don't even know the availability. And I always I want to let them know, why is it good for the client? Because it gives the client another option. It gives them an alternative what they're doing right now. It gives them, and Steve, you've been around for so long. If we're not already in it, can you guys see the production of fixed index and fixed going up since the first of the year, since the markets hit a skid? Have you seen some of that?
Yeah, I would. We could be on track for our best month of annuity premium ever in May.
Wow.
And
Wow.
April was good. And I mean, it's just that type of market, the type of gyrations that we see in the market since the first of the year, as they start settling in and people start feeling it, they start making decisions about safety. I had a
That's right.
conversation with one of our producers just recently, and we said, "Are we in full flight to safety? Are we in that mode yet?" I don't think so, but I think we're on the fringes of it right now, where people are starting to think that, hey, I need to, especially the 62 and 64-year olds. I mean, can you recover from a market? We did last time in less than 2 or 3 years, but in 2008, what did it take? 11, 10, 11 years before a lot of people saw, themselves
Yeah.
come
Well, are
back
you
around.
talking about last time? See that pandemic that was down 34%.
Right. Yeah.
What happened was that we've never had a time where the government has just
Dumped
just
that much money.
dumped money. Yeah, that's right. Dumped money in. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, but 2007, 8, 9 took between 4.5 and 5 years. 2001, 01 and 2, and 73, 74 oil embargo. And I went through two of those. I mean, I was selling cars for my dad in college with the oil embargo, but those are all 50 plus lost years. Well, you know what? You have $1 million. You say, I feel great. I'm a stud. I will never have to worry. It goes down 50%, 500,000. That ain't a million, or
Nope.
250 isn't 500. So all I'm saying is that's when all the in-service non-hardship, because those people have 2 years left, 3 years left, 1 year left, and one of the primary things that comes up with me is what type of guarantees do you have in your 401k? They're just not very good. Most
Mhm.
of them, unless you're owned by an insurance company. Because I did run one. It was Mass Mutual, and they had a 2.5% guarantee. We know we can beat that on the outside, but within an IRA, I tell you, Steve, even now with fixed index, you can probably get a 1 year fixed rate over two, maybe or not.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Our best one that
Yeah,
I know of is 2.5 on
yeah,
the one
that's
you fixed.
wild.
Yep.
Yeah,
Hmm.
can't do that with the CD. But anyway, in service plans, I tell you what, if you bring up that name in service, they'll look at you with glazed eyes, and then you show them of what you can, and then you just basically just say to them, hey, would you like to see if you have that option available to you? Who doesn't want more options? Then you call the company, you find out whether they got it, yes or no. Then you go back in and see if you can go in and propose on it. We do partials all the time, all the
Hmm.
time.
You bet.
Yep.
Question: under any circumstance, can you take an in-service withdrawal, non-hardship withdrawal before age 59 and a half?
Yes, but it is extremely rare. I've done it one time. They had the provision at 50. And I'll tell you, it was probably 25 or 30 years ago.
Hmm.
So I have never seen one since. It's all I call it the 59.5 rule. So in reality, I would say no. I have seen it one time, but I would, the rule's 50, not 59, but
Hmm.
everybody goes at 59 for whatever reason. 59.5 for
Hmm.
whatever reason that is. Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
So, what about a separation from service? I mean, I know that's not a non-hardship.
Yeah. But it's non-hardship. So once you're separated, the company has to make available to you all of their retirement plan proceeds. As long as you're vested, usually 5 years or more, that includes all of the company's money. May not be the same with the pension. And Steve, again, you probably know this too. Pension buyouts didn't really start happening until maybe 10 years ago. There
Yep.
wasn't such a thing 25 years ago as a pension buyout. But why does here, I'm going to quiz you, Steve. Why are companies buying out those pensions? What's the main reason?
Oh, to why are companies buying them out? I think they probably want to offload the risk. They don't want to have that
Yeah,
risk of the of longevity, probably.
it is the risk of debt
Hmm.
because it's a debt to the company. They'd rather pay me now or pay me later. It's normally cheaper to pay you now.
But,
They
you
just come up with the money and be done with it. That's why
know.
they want to get that debt off the balance sheet. Also, what happens is um, either them, if it's self-funded or partially self-funded, or the insurance company. But a lot of those companies self-fund those huge companies. They don't want to take that risk, do they? To
No,
self-fund it forever. No,
no.
not at all. Not at all.
Yep.
Yep. So
A
that's
lot
why
of
they do
pension
that.
transfers going on, large scale pension
Oh
transfers.
man, I mean, and you know what? It used to be where a lot of them we would bid against competing pension from the outside. You know what? It's just better to take the money and invest that money for the most
Mhm.
people. But I will say right now, in-service non-hardship withdrawal plans, if you bring it up and you say, do you want to see if you have this option? Almost everybody says yes because everybody wants an option. Now, whether they'll actually go in and give you money, no, that's another thing. But it starts greasing the wheel for the sale.
You bet. You bet.
Yeah.
Do you think, Dave, when most people leave their employer, do you think they automatically roll over their 401k, or is that something that you run into a lot of people of, hey, I've left this employer. What happened to your 401k? It's probably still sitting there. Does that go on a lot?
There's a fair amount of dormant retire 401ks. I mean, I'm always surprised when someone says I got 300,000, I've just left it there. But even surprised me more, Steve. Any idea what percentage of people cash out their 401k when they retire and pay taxes on it?
I shudder. What is it?
Guess
30%?
guess high, 35%.
Oh,
Over a third of the people cash it out. What a shame.
that is a
And
shame.
that's just from and a lot of that is from someone who just doesn't have the insight, isn't staying up with the rules. They're thinking short-sighted. It, I don't know the percentage on this, but if you take people that have got bigger plans that have are following their plans, virtually none of those people do that.
Yep. Yep.
You'd rather keep that tax deferral. So
Yeah.
it is, yeah. It's. I would say this is that people who are not retired, there is a higher level that they could leave it with a past employer. But when people actually retire, I would say by far the majority, if not almost everybody, it it rolls. It
Yep.
rolls over to some kind of retirement IRA.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep. We only have one more question. I'm going to paraphrase it a little bit. So, when you do 401k transfers, is it likely that you would say to a client, let's move it all, or do you generally leave some in the 401k? What's your general approach there?
Yeah, I actually don't take all. I always leave 5,000 or 2,000 or 3,000. I mean, you don't have to, but there was a plan that stopped for 6 months and couldn't renew it for 6 months. I don't ever take that chance. I would say if it's a smaller plan, we normally take it all under 300,000. If it's a bigger plan, we'll normally take a portion of it. And
Hmm.
you know what? I will tell you the truth. I mean, I'm not greedy at all. If I can help them, anything that comes over, I'm happy. I really am. I mean,
Hmm.
there was $1,000,003 plan, and I did 300,000, and that 300,000. Well, I mean, if you had 5%, that's 15,000. I did put a part of that into fee base, but still, if I made $7,000, $8,000, that's a it's a good for them. Gives them options, alternatives. Certainly a good day for Dave Pimper.
Hmm.
So
Yep.
I do a lot of partials, and you know what?
Gotcha.
I don't fight in there. Could I get more? Yeah, I probably could. I could go in there and I could I could harder, but I'm not a pressure salesperson. It just isn't what I do. If they want to do it, wonderful. If they don't want to, hey, I'm not going to pressure them. I'll go. I just, Steve, next week, this doesn't happen too often. We we just booked in a coaching appointment, and I had to do it the week after because I have no time available next week. That's wild, and they're all appointments.
Yeah. I'll
But a
pull
bunch
up.
of those came from the. It wasn't until those 8 appointments. Every one of the 8 appointments from yesterday's Social Security appointment workshop, everyone signed up. I mean, that signed up, everyone confirmed today when we called them, which is
Yeah.
pretty fun.
Yeah,
Yep.
that's good. Well, that kind of goes to what we talked about at the beginning. Is there's a lot of people that are looking for, when you have situations like this, it just creates questions and people looking for answers. And the more you can get in front of them and be the person that they look to for answers, the better you are. So that's why radio works so well. That's why seminars work so well. And that's why you've got, 4 or 5 appointments a day for the next 2 weeks. It's a good time to be in the safety, security, guarantees business, but it's also a good time
Boy.
to be in
Yeah.
the financial services business as a whole if you are an active and or proactive advisor. So that would be I would encourage you all to be proactive and get in front of as many clients as you can. I think we've answered all the questions, Dave. Is there anything you want to say before we adjourn for the day?
No, hey, I appreciate everybody on. We had a good showing here for a Thursday afternoon. I mean, it's 90 degrees in Nebraska, a little windy, but thank you very much for joining us. And if you marked yes, which I hope you did, I'd love to talk to you. Brady will be calling you, and we'll talk soon.
Be great. Just a quick, so you can, if you put yes on that poll, Brady will call you and he'll get a call set up for you with Dave. There was a question is what's the best contact method? That's probably the best contact method. Just put yes on the poll and we'll put you in touch with Dave.
Well, thank you, everybody. Go have a very productive rest of your Thursday and Friday.
Thanks again, Dave. Thank you, everybody, for joining us today. And let us know how we can help you. It's 800-255-5055. You can call and ask for myself. I'm Steve Murray, or anybody on the sales on the sales team. Thank you very much, and have a great afternoon. Thanks, Dave.
Thanks, everybody. Sure. Bye now.